All right, everyone. This is the first podcast with me and BK, Brian Kelly. We do not have a name yet, but this is all for Lions and Lions draft and, what the future will hold and so on and so forth. So, let me introduce you to my counterpart, Brian Kelly.
How we doing? We're gonna go through the draft picks here, a little bit of mock draft between 1 and 18, kind of just talking about where we see this draft going. We know there's smoke screens coming out left and right.
And right.
Brad Holmes is very tricky to figure out what's going on. We saw how that surprises kind of played out in last year's draft. But it's exciting times for the Lions, so we're going to get into it and see if we can make good guesses on where we're going to go direction-wise in the draft.
Yeah, and now with the news that just came out today with JMO and the gambling, even more uncertainty and things that could happen in this upcoming draft.
Definitely creates a little bit of a gap there at the wide receiver position for our first 6 games. Might have some draft implications on it too. To see if we need to address it with Cephas being off the roster. And honestly, the Lions don't have a ton of needs right now. They're not like stricken on being a certain direction in the draft where they have to fill a need. Gives us a lot of flexibility to go in a lot of different directions here.
Yes, absolutely. All right, you want to start us off with your first pick? We'll go pick by pick.
My first pick is Bryce Young. I think it's become quite apparent that he's going to be the first pick. The guy's decision-making's off the charts. Great arm. Panthers hit a grand slam here with their trade up.
I also have Bryce Young. I couldn't agree more. I think he is the best quarterback to come into a draft in a long time. He reminds me of a smaller version of Patrick Mahomes. The tape doesn't lie on this guy. He does not get rattled, very poised, and he can extend the play. If the Lions could get him, gosh, would I love to get that guy to team back up with JMO.
Oh, dreaming. But
I am dreaming because he's gone. He's gone.
He's going to be gone in the first pick. I mean, he's a grand slam here.
He is. Unquestionably, I think it's a no-brainer. Bryce Young, number 1 overall pick.
Lock it in.
All right, who do you got at 2, my man?
Number 2, I'm going Will Anderson. I think the ties to Alabama with the D'Amico Ryans down there, and the conversations and the talk that Nick Saban's had about Will Anderson being one of the best defensive players to ever come through Alabama.
Didn't he say the best?
He put him right up there on that pedestal. So when you talk about that, I mean, I think that opens D'Amico Ryan's eyes.
Absolutely.
They got a lot of needs over there in Houston, and Will Anderson will be a difference maker on that defense for probably the next decade.
And you want to know what? To your point, Will Anderson does make sense a lot there. They lost J.J. Watt a few years ago. They haven't been able to fill that void. So, I mean, I could see that, but I have C.J. Stroud going there. I know he is moving down a lot of draft boards with that test that he scored an 18% on. So, don't know how you get that. It's about as good as my ACT score there.
Answering all C's on that? What's going
My goodness. But his tape also doesn't lie, and he put on a absolute clinic at his pro day. And at the combine. So he can make all the throws necessary. He can make all the reads necessary. I just think Houston would be stupid not to draft a quarterback when you don't currently have one. But to your point, I also see why Will Anderson's a viable pick there because I think him and Bryce Young are 1-2 best players in this draft.
Yeah, I would agree with you, and I think it's an interesting situation the Texans are in. Because if they do pass on a quarterback, they might have to see Stroud for the next 10 years. Because the Colts could get him. Or Tennessee might move up into the Arizona slot as a quarterback-hungry team. And that's quite the risk when you're not really sure at the quarterback position at this moment in time with the Texans. It's a great pick.
I agree. All right, who do you got at 3?
Number 3, I'm going Tyree Wilson, defensive lineman out of Texas Tech. The versatility is pretty off the charts with him. Plays inside, plays
Undeniable.
outside. Yeah, I think the versatility probably separates him from Jalen Carter. Also, you don't have the off-the-field issues.
That's huge.
Which is a big thing. I think the tape for Carter is better, but Arizona has been in love with Tyree Wilson throughout this whole process.
Yep.
I think they have options to trade the pick. I'm not sure anybody's willing to pay the ransom. They still might trade back, but if they stay right here, they're going to be taking Tyree Wilson at 3.
All right. So I think this pick will be traded to Indy for the 4th overall pick and a 2nd-round pick at 35. So Arizona and Indy will essentially swap picks. I think Will Levis goes here. I think Irsay knows he needs a quarterback. I think he wants a little mayonnaise in the coffee. I think the Colts are high on him, and I think that's who they're going to go with.
I think it's a good pick. Everything I'm hearing out of Indy's camp is Levis is their guy. So that makes a ton of sense.
All right. Then who do you got at 4, brother?
4, I got the Colts taking C.J. Stroud. I think they're jumping up and down in that draft room. Will Levis obviously is somebody that they're extremely high on and still might be selected above C.J. Stroud. But Stroud's throwing ability and the way that he reads the field, that test kind of, is leading people in one direction, but the game tape doesn't lie. C.J. Stroud is a home run pick here for the Colts.
All right. This is where I have Holmes starting to work his magic a little bit. I think Arizona trades this pick to us. We move up and we get Will Anderson. He is the best defensive player, in my opinion, that I've seen come out in a very long time. Where did we struggle the most? Defense last year. We were about 32nd in damn near every freaking category on the defensive end of the ball.
Brutal.
And how better to build up it than through the front. We, got Hutch last year. We got a steal in the 6th round with Houston. You add Will Anderson to what we've already done. I just think it'd be amazing. I might be dreaming here, but we have the capital to do it. So I think the Lions would have to give up the 6th overall pick and then their 55th overall pick in the 2nd round to do this. But I do think, Holmes showed us this last year. He's not afraid to move up to get the guys he wants.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think it's worth the draft pick investment. Will Anderson's as safe as they come, and if he gets out of the top 3, it makes a ton of sense for the Lions to try to make a play like this.
Hell yeah.
5, I got Jalen Carter going to Seattle. Now, this is a tough decision because we got Richardson still on the board, who Seattle's high on.
Yep.
But Jalen Carter is the best player in this draft if you get past the legal issues and also kind of the pro day over there where he came in a little out of shape.
A little?
Little out of shape. But Pete Carroll has always had a thing for, getting the most out of players and taking on
that he has
tough situations. And I just think Carter's too tempting for a team that needs that defensive presence. And Seattle was a playoff team last year with Geno. Like, they're competing. So
they want to bring that Legion of Boom back, don't they?
Yeah, they want to add some defensive oomph to try to pick up that offense. But last year, they were right in it. So I think Carter kind of helps them elevate to where they want to be this year.
Yeah, that makes sense. Even though they gave Geno the money at 5, I don't think anyone trusts in Geno long term. I think they cannot pass on Anthony Richardson to, lessen the blow of trading Russell Wilson. Even though I know Russell had a down year last year, we all know Geno ain't the guy. All right. So Anthony Richardson sitting there. I love your point. I could also see that, but I'm going to go with Anthony Richardson here.
Yeah, I like that pick. I think Geno is not the guy long term, but I mean, they're going to get 3 years out of him, and he'll be solid for him for 3 years if he played the same way he did last year. But yeah, I think Richardson makes a lot of sense here if they want to go in the future direction rather than the win right now.
Yep. All right, who do you got at 6?
Number 6, tough decision. The Lions are sitting here at 6. They've got a ton of options out in front of them. They like Bijan Robinson. They
Love Bijan.
I mean, how do you not? Like, the guy is going to be a premier halfback. You might be passing on Marshall Faulk if you do.
Yes.
Bijan Robinson, I think they like Devin Witherspoon a lot.
Devin Witherspoon's a stud.
Could be an anchor in that defense. Very, very good. The 3 defensive line prospects that I feel like are home runs are kind of off the board here already. Not kind of, but they are absolutely off the board right here. And I just think the temptation is too much for the future and what it can bring to us right now. I think if it's here, I think they go Anthony Richardson. I'm not sure the Lions will be up into the top 10 in the future to get that quarterback if they don't get him right now. And Richardson sliding to 6 is interesting because I'm not sure how you let an athlete at the quarterback position slide this far. But I know he's only started 11 games. He's kind of raw in a lot of that terms, but I mean, he's just too tempting. I think, Stroud and Young off the board. It's not only a perfect fit for the Lions for the future, but it also helps them right now.
Absolutely. It gives us that extra dimension to expand the field that, Goff doesn't necessarily bring to the table. And if there's one thing that we haven't had at the quarterback position, it's being able to extend the play and extend the field. And with the playmakers we have, Anthony Richardson makes perfect sense here. I would not mind getting a quarterback at the 6th pick if Stroud was here or Richardson. But the interesting thing about Richardson is we were at every single one of his games. Our scouts were. We've been behind him from day one.
The pro day. Yep. I mean, we've kind of been tucked under the radar with him, and I think they're just kind of staying silent and hoping he'll drop.
I think you might be right.
But the other side of it too, man, is the quarterback market is out of control with the cap space, and if you don't have a rookie quarterback right now, it can put you in quite the cap strain going forward. Lions really haven't had contract extension talks with Jared Goff.
No.
I know they have the franchise tag on the table for next year and the following year. Gives Richardson that time that he needs to develop.
Exactly, and learn under Goff.
But the running element that he would bring to us, I mean, you got to load the box, and all of a sudden you get Jameson Williams on the outside one-on-one. You get St. Brown on the outside one-on-one.
Yes, sir.
It gives the Lions a dimension and a future where it is, it's an explosive offense moving forward with Richardson and a perfect situation for him to fall into to be successful.
I completely agree. Learn behind Goff for a few years and then just run with it, baby. Run with it. Mm-hmm. And I think Ben Johnson would love to have just another weapon where he can explore his scheme. So
creativity, for sure.
With that said, I have Arizona taking Tyree Wilson at this long-term impact player. They aren't going to be able to get draft capital, next year. And I think, this makes the most sense. This is their guy. I mean, they've been so high on him. Everything I've heard, right out of the gates, they need to improve their defense. I mean, they have a lot of needs, let's be honest. Arizona has the most needs out of any NFL team, probably. But I think Tyree Wilson's their guy, so that's who I got.
Could be the most impactful defender in the entire draft. I mean, the guy's ceiling is through the roofs. You don't get size like that often. I think Arizona is very, very keen on getting him in this draft.
Same.
My 7th pick, I've got Las Vegas going here with Will Levis. I think they need a quarterback for the future. They get rid of Carr. I know they brought in Jimmy G, but that feels like a bridge situation. Josh McDaniel is always kind of like the quarterback of the style of Will Levis. It's a good fit here. Even if he's not a day one starter, he could be or a year 2 starter. So I think they got the ability here to fill up a need that they lost already in the offseason.
I could see that. I think those are very well, good points there. But I have the 7th overall pick in the Raiders going with Jalen Carter. Yeah, it just makes too much sense to me. The Raiders, they always have problems. Jalen Carter, always seems to be having problems. And I just think that Raider Nation's going to be having him in the black and silver.
Yeah, that Raiders culture has always kind of been able to take risk on players, and still, bring the most out of them. So it's a good situation there, and I think Carter would be a good fit.
All right, who do you got at 8?
Number 8, I'm going Atlanta taking a playmaker. I think Atlanta, they're pretty high on Desmond Ridder. I think a lot of people are like dismissing the fact that he could be a starting quarterback in this league.
I think he had a hell of a rookie year last year.
Yeah, he finished strong.
He did, and he took the job right out of Mariota.
Yeah, he did. I mean, the guy could be a starter in this league.
I liked what I saw when I saw him play.
Arthur Smith loves to run the football, and I'm not sure they got that halfback there right now.
Me and you both have this the same.
And they need that juice, and Bijan Robinson coming off the board here.
He is. He's as much as I like him to slide down to 18 for our Lions. And if he does, we're running to the podium.
Right.
But Bijan, I got him going with the Falcons. I think this makes too much sense. They haven't had anyone since, was it Freeman? They haven't had
Tevin Coleman.
Coleman too, but I think Bijan's the guy here.
Makes a lot of sense for him. Number 9, I've got the Bears finally getting Fields his weapon. I know they got DJ Moore. They got to get a little bit more over there. And Justin Fields is going to be pounding the table for Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Hey, we both have this too. Get him his guy. Get him his playmaker. Help Fields out. This is the best wide receiver in the draft. We both agree upon that, right?
I don't think it's close. And I'm even comparing him similar to Jamar Chase with how he sat out a year. The year before, I mean, his junior year, the dude was the best receiver in the game. And if he plays this year, he's probably a top 5 pick. It makes a lot of sense for the Bears to try to get their offense shored up here.
Yes, I totally agree. They need a dynamic playmaker to stretch the field. They need to give Fields another option so he doesn't have to run the ball, 13 times a game. That's not sustainable. He got hurt a bunch last year. Get his weapons on the outside and get in Jigba. I mean, this is a no-brainer to me.
Makes a ton of sense for him. 10, I got the Eagles, building up that secondary, trying to replace Gardner Johnson, who they lost in the offseason. Need to bring that a little bit of a gritty presence, and they're going to get the best corner in the draft here. They're going to take Devin Witherspoon, and I believe that's a great pick for him. Brings him a physical presence, top-rated corner coming out of college here.
I like that. I also have them selecting a corner. I got Brian Branch, though, because I think he can, play the safety and corner with, us kind of stealing a player from them. I think this, this kind of, helps them with 2 needs, corner and safety. So I got Brian Branch here with the Eagles. I mean, they lost a lot on defense, but either pick would be very sustainable.
Very good. And I think, you get the comparisons with Brian Branch there, too, to Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Yep.
And if he had the size, I mean, I'm not sure Branch gets out of the top 10 with his tape. I mean, the guy is everywhere.
Yeah, and he does remind me of Gardner Johnson. That's the reason I went towards Branch opposed to your pick there. So, I mean, either one would be a great pick. We both have corners, so we're on the same page. It's not the same guy.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. 11, I got to have the Titans fill in this quarterback need. I mean,
same.
They're in that win now, but I don't think they were willing to pay the price in order to move up in the draft. I think the price tag was just too high where they would have had to give up their first rounder next year, and they're not willing to risk that. I think they're going to take Hendon Hooker here late, or the guy is a older player at the age of 25, but I mean, the tape does not lie.
Tape doesn't lie. If he didn't get hurt, I think he'd be even higher on these draft board. He'd be right up there with Will Levis, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, and Richardson. I mean, this dude is dynamic. Not to mention, we all know Tannehill ain't the guy, all right? Tannehill ain't the guy. That Tannehill he isn't the guy.
I don't like to knock quarterbacks or players, but he is not. He's not been exceeding expectations over here the last couple of years.
No, you should have stuck to wide receiver. So Hendon Hooker, he's a local kid. They need a QB. and I don't care that he's 25. I think that'd be a good fit for him.
Yeah, I'm not really sure where else they would go there.
Me neither. All right, who do you got at 12,
Number
brother?
12, I got the Texans taking another defensive impact player with all the quarterbacks off the board. I think they know it's the long con here, and they're trying to build up the defense before they try to potentially get a quarterback next year. They got a ton of draft capital, so they're going to be able to kind of wiggle their way into the top of next year's draft to get one of the big guys, Caleb Williams or May over there. So I got a feeling that they're going to take Christian Gonzalez here, the corner out of Oregon. In my belief, Christian Gonzalez could be the top corner in the draft. Tall, lengthy, great ball instincts, great playmaking ability. Christian Gonzalez makes a ton of sense.
Christian Gonzalez, I like that pick. I like the way he played. Ball hawk, he reads the defense as well. But I have them protecting the quarterback that they draft. I just think that if you're going to draft a quarterback, which that's what I have them doing, I think they're going to go with a Peter Skorowski, tackle guard, and I think that just makes a lot of sense there.
Skorowski has got the versatility, and honestly, he's probably going to be a 10-year starter. The guy is as consistent as it comes.
Yeah,
it makes a ton of sense for him there.
Absolutely.
Speaking of Skorowski, I got him going 13 to the
Jets. The goddamn Jets, huh?
I think the Jets are trying to. Now, the ultimate question becomes here: is
Rodgers.
This pick going to be the Jets? Is it going to go to Green Bay? If it is the Jets pick, they're going to take Skorowski and try to keep Rodgers happy by getting him an offensive line where he can sit in that pocket and potentially make plays.
Yeah, you definitely got to keep Rodgers happy because Mr. Drama Rodgers these past couple of years. I got Broderick Jones, so I'm going tackle. Like you said, you got to protect Rodgers. They're a quarterback away from being a solid contender, and once you get that quarterback over there, you got to protect that quarterback. So we're both on the same page.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick there. We'll see if it's theirs, but
yeah, we'll see if it's there. But if it is, that makes the most sense on both of our opinions to protect Rodgers.
Yeah, exactly. 14, I got New England and Bill Belichick cooking up what he cooks up, which is DBs.
Yes.
And he's taking that shot at Brian Branch, just like the Eagles taking the versatility. Too tempting. The tape does not lie.
No, it doesn't.
And Belichick's got those ties to Alabama. I just don't see how Branch gets past him here at 14.
All right. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Like you said, he has the ties to Bama, but my best cornerback on the board is Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois.
Ton of sense for him.
Yeah, they've always had good corners, going back to Asante Samuel. I just think this makes too much sense. Gilmore and,
Malcolm
Butler, so on and so forth. I mean, they just always had a fucking stud corner, and I got Devin Witherspoon going here, my man.
I think it's a great pick. Witherspoon, I got him off the board a little bit earlier, but he is a premier DB, and I'd be surprised if he gets out the top 15.
Yeah, same.
15, I got the Packers trying to make some plays on the outside, getting a receiver.
As do I.
Smith and Jigba's off the board. I think they're going to like Jordan Addison a lot. Jordan Addison seems to be slipping down boards, but his route running ability, his short route game, I think he brings the Packers an element that can complement Christian Watson. It makes a lot of sense for them to try to get a weapon there with that defense they have.
I got them getting Love a weapon on the outside as well. Give Jordan Love a weapon. I got Quentin Johnson out of TCU. I think, the tape don't lie on him. His physicality, his ball hawking skills up in the air. I don't know. What I saw when I watched that guy's tape, he might give the Lions problems from years to come. So hopefully Love's not that good and that doesn't happen. So
that's not what I'm hearing, but we'll see how it goes for us.
We will. All right, who do you got at 16,
Number
brother?
16,
this dysfunctional franchise.
Yeah, I mean, the Commanders are tough to call on here, but Paris Johnson Jr., the tackle, is just too tempting for him. I think they got to solidify that offensive line and continue to build. That defense is pretty good. That defensive line that they got over there is elite, and they can make. They've got a lot of things going for them, but getting a tackle to seal up that protection of the quarterback moving forward, whether that's
The thing is, they don't have a quarterback.
well, Sam Howell seems to be their guy.
Oh God,
So,
yeah.
we'll
So
see,
is Heineke.
we'll see if they can protect Howell with Paris Johnson Jr., but he's extremely athletic and fits the bill for him here.
If Howell's their guy, they're going to need some playmakers, and nothing that the Commanders do makes sense, just like the name the Commanders. I liked the Washington football team myself.
Uh-huh.
I have them get Michael Mayer. I think, they always
Right
seem
back.
to have a damn good tight end, going back to, Reed, and then with him having to retire due to the concussions and multiple injuries. I just think this would give him a nice little security blanket there, and also improving their offensive line and the run blocking schemes.
Yeah, great weapon there. Mayer is probably the best tight end in the draft. The other name that comes out is Dalton Kincaid out of Utah, but I think
Another great tight
a
end.
lot of sense for them here with Mayer. 17, I think you and I are both agreement on this. I think Pittsburgh's running to
Yes,
the board if
running.
he's here.
We both have this. We've talked about this. It just makes too much damn sense.
Too much sense with his dad on the sideline. Joey Porter Jr.
Yep.
will be a Steeler if he's sitting there at 17. I'm not sure how they pass up on it.
They ain't going to pass up on him. I think that's a done deal with them losing Sutton to us. They are in
corner
need.
they have.
Yeah, they are in need for a corner. His dad's on the staff, like BK mentioned. They are running to the podium for that, in my opinion.
Yeah, need to get a corner. Fits their culture because he's been born into the culture. Makes
Yep.
a ton of sense for him.
Yep.
My last pick, 18 for the Lions here. It's going a little different direction than most people do. With the wide receiver suspension with Jameson Williams.
Jesus, how unfortunate.
Unfortunate. Rules are very unique with the betting, but you can't make that mistake if you're JMO.
No.
I got us taking Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers is flying up boards. He's a wide receiver out of Boston College. The guy's getting comparisons to Steve Smith
love
and
it.
Hines Ward. Very physical on the outside, great route
Good
runner,
blocker.
mean blocker on the outside. And this not only, like Cephas is gone for the Lions.
Cephas
too.
is gone. His career's done probably after this.
Well, we might end up somewhere else, but this is definitely, a hurdle that he's going to have to accomplish. But when you're talking about Flowers here, you get cheap, big play threats on the
Yes.
outside. When you got the opportunity to get these type of playmakers, you shouldn't pass on them.
No, you shouldn't.
And the Lions are in a situation where they get St. Brown, Flowers, and JMO on the outside, and all of a
Woo!
sudden you got
Woo-hoo!
a lot of juice.
Watch out, baby. Watch out.
You got a lot of juice where you can get some points and some big plays out of that. So that's the way I got them going. Little unique. I think they deal with the O-line and defensive line depth and even the linebacker position that we know is a glaring need later in the draft here.
All right. Well, I actually am going defense. Like I said earlier, I mean, if there's one thing we need to improve, it's defense. I got him getting a linebacker here. I have us getting Drew Sanders.
Like that.
I think he is a great player. I think he really fits our culture. I think he fits our schemes, and he's a ball hawk. I think he molded well with Anzalone and Rodrigo. I just think that would be a great pick, but I wouldn't mind us taking Noah Sewell here to keep Penny happy. We got to keep Penny happy. I also loved what I saw out of Noah. I know it's a little early. He does. I know it's a little early, but I would be happy with either of those linebackers being taken there. I am all about defense unless one of them quarterbacks fall to us or we're in the right position to draft one, because I want us to extend the field with getting a quarterback as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think, it makes a ton of sense for us to do something of that sort. Yeah.
But
Drew Sanders' size, versatility is tough to pass on. 6'4", 250, guy can rush on the outside. He can play the middle.
Yes.
Played at Alabama, played at Arkansas, showed up both
Do it all.
places.
Yes, he did.
Like, the guy's got the versatility to really bring the defense.
And he has it up here. He's smart. He's very smart.
Fits the culture. So.
He does. He does. He has that grit.
Yep.
As we said earlier, we kind of talked about this. If Bijan somehow falls, we are running to the podium. We are running.
Yeah, 18 Marshall Falk Jr., Bijan Robinson falls. Yeah, I mean, it's just too tough to pass up here. Guy brings too much of playmaking to the table. And, like, when you're in the first round nowadays, if you're not getting playmakers in this league, you're not going to go very far.
No, not at all. All right, next thing we're going to cover here is some re-signings and new additions for the Lions. Let's start with the defense side of the ball because, like I've mentioned,
you know, a lot of work.
Yeah, time over and time again since, we started talking. The most impactful signings, we were 32nd in the NFL, like I said previously as well, in pretty much every defensive category. And we still almost made the playoffs. So Gardner Johnson out of Philly, best signing we had this offseason, maybe in the last decade. Not to mention, we're getting him on a discounted price, aren't we, Brian?
Very, very much so. And the only reason for it is Aaron Glenn.
Glenn, baby.
It sounds like he is kind of a fatherly figure to Gardner Johnson, and they have this connection, and it is literally the perfect scenario for the Lions. Gardner Johnson was a huge part in Philly being in that Super Bowl last year.
Huge.
And it immediately elevates our secondary to a point where we were not last year.
Oh, he's a very, very versatile player. One of the top defensive players on Philly's Super Bowl team last year, like you just said, if not the top. I just think this adds a whole new dimension to our defense, and I couldn't be more thrilled that we stole him away from Philadelphia.
Yeah, the versatility is just off the charts, so.
And the deal, 1 year, $1.6 million with a $4 million signing bonus, that's a steal of a deal.
It concerns me about the fact that he'll probably be gone at the end of this year, but we'll see if we can work it out. Aaron Glenn, I think, will probably be the spot where Gardner Johnson stays, so we'll see what his market looks like after the end of the year.
Yeah, we both think that Aaron Glenn probably won't be around with us next year, but let's not get ahead of ourselves and let's enjoy this year and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. No need to look that far forward.
Next guy, Cam Sutton from the Steelers. We mentioned him. Top 20 corner in the league last year. Versatile, physical, great tackler. Going to be a starter the next 3 years on that 3-year, $33 million deal.
Very good price on it. Cam Sutton was no question the best corner that Pittsburgh had last year. I'm not sure how they let him get out of their building for that price. Lions get a steal here and a staple in the secondary going forward. Loved that pickup.
Same. And then we even got Mosley, starting cornerback with San Francisco. DeMeco Ryan raved about him. Before he got hurt, he was going to command big money. Lions now get him at a rental price, $1 million, $6 million, $2 million signing bonus, $2 million guaranteed. I mean, this is a steal for us.
Yeah, I mean, there's no chance he is signed for this price tag if he plays the entire year. When he was playing for San Francisco last year, you can make the debate that he was the best corner that they had on the field in some games. I mean, the guy was absolutely outstanding for him in a pinch. Wasn't a starter to begin with. They couldn't keep him off the field by the end of the time where he was showing what he could do.
Exactly, man. If you can't get him off the field and he's not a starter, that's saying something.
Usually means they're quite impactful.
Absolutely. All right, now let's get back to re-signs on the defense side of the ball. Anzalone, BK and myself will be the first to admit we were hesitant going into last season after his play the year previously. And he looked like a completely different player last year. Thor, baby. Absolute monster last year. Turned it around. He's only 28, and I think he's the leader of the defense, not to mention he had 125-plus tackles.
Yeah, just a monster year last year. And you got to think, probably Malcolm Rodriguez played a factor in this because
Yes.
Malcolm Rodriguez is such an impactful player, and Anzalone wasn't getting blocked the way he was the previous year.
He
But-
looked like a step faster, though, too. I don't know if an injury was nagging him the year before, but he just Thor, baby.
Or settling in with Aaron
Settling in.
Glenn's defense,
Yeah,
but
maybe that
man,
was it.
Man, it feels like he's a starter going forward, and
I remember watching Hard Knocks last year, and they said the tape don't lie. Like you don't need to play in the preseason. And I'm sitting there, what tape are you watching? Now I know what the hell they're talking about.
yeah, very smart leader of this defense. Got to have him going forward.
And it's only a 3-year, $18.75 million deal. I'd say that's a pretty damn good deal for a linebacker.
Yeah, and especially when he's the leader of your defense. You
Yeah.
need him.
Yeah. Next guy, Isaiah Buggs, 26-year-old, great run stopper, made some big plays on the goal line late last year to give us a chance at making the playoffs. With him, I think we were just a better team all the way around when he's on the field.
Yeah, it gives us a run stuff and presence. Surprised Pittsburgh let him out of there. Again, the Lions are taking some Steelers, take some of that culture.
Yep.
I'm perfectly fine with that. More than just, late last year and the one goal line stand, Buggs settled in.
He did.
And he became a big part of that defensive line where he was the main run stopper, and you put him next to McNeil. All of a sudden, you got kind of a good duo there in the D-tackle spot. You get Pascal back this year.
Pascal, baby.
You're getting somewhere with this defensive line with the depth where we haven't had it previously.
No, we sure haven't. I love me some Buggs. I'm excited about this. I'm excited about the deal. 2-year, $4.5 million, 2.1 guaranteed. I think that's a great deal, a great re-sign.
Yeah, loves to be here and a great culture fit as well.
Absolutely. All right. Now, this was my one of my top guys I wanted us to re-sign. I did not want to let this guy go. Why don't you introduce him, Brad?
Yeah, you and I both talked about this. This guy was absolutely great for us last year. Versatile, does it all. Played with a broken thumb the entire year and was very good still. John Kaminsky was just great for us last year, and it's great to get him back. Because I thought he was going to have a big market in the offseason.
Same. He wanted to come back, though. He said that from day one when we finished out last year. He wanted to come back. I wanted him back. I thought he was one of our best players on the defense side of the ball throughout the whole year, and that is playing through an injury. Can you imagine him at full strength?
Yeah, I agree. I think you get him at full strength, you're obviously going to get more out of him, right?
Yeah.
I think Kaminsky and Pascal put us in a situation where we're not forced to go defensive tackle out of the gates or defensive lineman. Like, they're more deep at the position group than people are giving them credit for.
I would agree with that. I just am trying to build that defense into a juggernaut.
Yeah, and I've seen defensive lines carry teams to Super Bowls before, so it makes a ton of sense.
Absolutely. And the contract isn't bad either. A 2-year, $8.5 million deal for a guy at his caliber of play. I love it.
Yeah, you can get you 7-8 sacks in a year. That's just a great number.
Absolutely. The next guy, Jalen Reeves-Maybin.
The reunion.
Yeah, baby. He's back. I loved when we had him. So versatile, great depth guy, very smart football player. Nice blast from the past.
Yeah, plays the run great. I think he's a great rotational guy, and we get him back at a pretty good rate comparatively what Houston paid him previously to get him out of here. I think it's a great signing, and I think he'll help us a lot with the depth there.
Yeah, same here. 1 year, $1.79 million, $900,000 guaranteed. For a guy as versatile as him and bringing back a guy who we know fits our culture and locker room, great signing.
Nice little prove-it deal for him here, too.
Yeah. Just, blast from the past, Ben and Frazier just had to do this with the Whale, and Jalen Reeves-Maybin's going to do this with the Lions, baby.
Yep, that's right.
All right, let's move to the offensive side of the football and our signings. Let's start it off with the stud of, this might be the best signing in the all of offseason for anyone.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how we get Montgomery away from the Bears. I don't know how they don't hold on to him and retain him. But David Montgomery ran behind one of the worst offensive lines in the entire NFL last year and averaged 4.2 a carry. The guy is a legitimate star when you put him behind a good offensive line. I think he's going to be an impactful player for us. Jamal Williams obviously walks, which is very tough on us. You and I talked about how much that hurt the culture.
He was part of the culture.
Yeah, I think everybody fell in love with him too with the hard knocks and the behind the camera, and we're gonna miss him, no doubt about it. But Montgomery, when you're talking about the tape and talking about what he can do on the field, he is an upgrade.
He is. There's no questions asked that he is by far an upgrade. He's faster. He's a better pass catcher out of the backfield. He makes more people miss, and not to mention, he's younger. He's 25. Williams is 28. So he has fresher legs. And you know what I love about this more than anything? We stole him away from a division rival.
Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't make sense to me why they let him walk, but we'll take it.
We will take it. The Bears, I don't understand much of what they're doing these days. But we got their running back on a 3-year, $18 million. 4.5 signing bonus with 11 mil guaranteed. Every signing we have, I don't feel like was a stretch and we've overpaid.
No, I don't either. And I think the Bears are obviously invested in Herbert over there, but to not give him that money and let Montgomery come to a division rival doesn't make any sense to me.
No.
We'll take it.
And he's a great two-headed monster with Swifty. If we hold on to Swifty, because I'm hearing rumblings that we might be shopping him, and if we get Dijon somehow, my goodness, that looked pretty scary with him and Montgomery.
We'll see. I want to have the bounce back from Swift.
Same.
I'm hoping we see a little bit more from him this year.
Same.
And he proves it to us.
Yeah, I want to see so much side to side. I want him getting downhill.
Yeah, it's up and down, up and down. Use this offensive line to your advantage.
I talked about this one with you before this even happened, and you didn't think this was going to happen, but Glass Cloud, baby. Former player, great depth addition, knows the organization. Michigan man, go blue. Being excited to come back with his friends and being a part of, the community there in Detroit.
Yeah, I think he's really excited to be back. I was a little bit hesitant about signing him just based off of the fact that he was going to be a reserve. I didn't know what the money was going to look like with it.
Yep.
I think the price tag's good here. I think the guy really wants to be back. He's going to be a good part of the culture here. And I think it's a great depth piece and gives us a little bit of versatility too.
Very versatile. He can play the center.
Yeah, and versatility not only on the line, but on top of that with Jonah Jackson's contract negotiations.
And that's the big kicker
next year.
Yeah, because there's no way we're going to be able to probably keep Jonah Jackson after we pay Penny Sewell.
Yeah, he's going to command somewhere close to 5 years, $100 million based off of how the market has been. And paying a guard $20 million when we're already paying our tackles pretty good money. Ragnow as well. It's tough to afford everybody. I think Glasgow is a good piece to eventually maybe take over his spot.
Yeah, as a starter. Yep, absolutely. I'd 100% agree with that. And then, hey, we have another blast from the past coming back, baby. Marvin Jones Jr. Great Chark replacement. Not as young, not as fast, but he's a great mentor for JMO. When JMO gets back from that 6-game suspension, great locker room guy. Still had great production over there at Jacksonville. And you want to know what? He loves the city of Detroit. Loves it. And I think, he had some great production last year. He's a perfect piece for us to get our 3. Obviously, we were hoping JMO or would have fallen into that 2 spot, but you get this 6-game suspension. You got to, work with what you got. But Marvin definitely deepens our wide receiver group. He does.
Helps us a lot with filling a need there.
And the deal was great. 1 year, $3.5 million, but can be worth up to $5 million, in incentives. So, I just think this is a great addition for us. Still has great yards per catch. He led the league when he was with us in yards per catch. So I'm really liking this signing.
Yeah, still has some juice, and I think brings a great veteran presence there.
Yeah. All right. Last guy, Bagley, kicker. Consistent with, extra points. Pretty damn solid from 40 to 49 yard range. My problem with Bagley, no distance. He don't have the big leg that we've been accustomed to with the alcoholic and Prater. He's trying to get back on track at the facility over there in Arizona. And then Hansen. Hansen had a hell of a leg too. I like the consistency. We re-signed him on a 1-year, $1.23 million deal. I would like us to go after a little Michigan man in this draft and get Moody.
Yeah, I mean, you got to consider potentially moving on from him, but Badgley was solid at the end of the year.
He was.
And if you're consistent from him, 49, most teams will take it. So I think it's a good, safe re-signing.
Yes.
Still have options there, but that's a good bring back.
Yeah, I just want someone to give him a little competition.
Yeah, keep it competitive in that position group that usually isn't that competitive.
I 100% agree, BK. All right, we are going to move on, and we are going to go to the next talking point, financial investments and ramifications, where we, go moving forward with everything that's transpired. You want to start us off?
Yeah, so we're looking at about $85 million in cap space next year, but on top of that, we do have some needs that we have to address. We have some big foundational pieces that need to be re-signed. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell.
Got to keep Penny happy.
Jonah Jackson. I mean, these are big guys
who are going to command big money.
Big money. You got to think it's going to be somewhere close to $20 million a year for St. Brown. You're going to also probably consider Sewell to be close to $25 million. I'm not sure how they afford Jonah Jackson in that. Because to go $20 million on 3 separate guys seems like it would be kind of insanity there.
Yeah, and that's why we, touched on, Glasgow and the play there. I mean, this is the year we shape our roster for the future and years to come. So, yes, we definitely got to re-sign St. Brown, Penny, and then we got to figure out what to do with Jonah. But that just all has to be done. And who are we investing the money into?
Yeah.
In the future, we got to figure that out. So we both think Amon St. Brown is a foundational piece, leader in the locker room, and one of the best wide receivers in the league. So we both think
production's unbelievable.
Production's unbelievable. We think he's upwards up to 20 mil, 5 mil. 20 mil, 5 year, 100 mil, something along those lines. Wouldn't you say?
Probably be a generous contract for the Lions there,
but
somewhere right in that range.
He's not going to forget that we drafted him, though, and where we drafted him. And I think he loves Detroit. And, he fits, our culture and our scheme if we can retain Ben Johnson. He's doing a lot of fun things with St. Brown.
I'm not
love
sure us retaining Ben Johnson for too much longer is realistic, but St. Brown, regardless, is the cornerstone of our wide receiver group and needs to be re-signed.
You never know, though. Look how long McDaniel stayed with, the Pats before he moved on.
Yeah, they were winning some Super Bowls, though, too.
Well, we might be here soon, too. We might be here soon, too.
Thinking, but here's to hoping.
All right, well, let's get into this next thing. We kind of touched on this a little bit. Do you invest in Swift to be a part of our future?
I mean, I think this is even a question for this year.
Can
they get something for Swift with a draft pick or some sort of trade, or do they believe in him? I mean, I think they were talking about it on Hard Knocks last year, and they're like, the potential with Swift is off the charts. The guy has everything. But there's some plays where it's like, okay, just follow the hole. And
he tries to run fucking north to south.
Tries to go outside. Now, I'm not knocking Swift because he was able to do that at the collegiate level, but he's got to evolve as a runner if he's probably going to stay a part of this team, because we're more about the up and down and using this offensive line to move the football.
And he doesn't have Staley on his fucking ass anymore, who kept his ass in check. So, I mean, that's going to be, I'm happy he, went over to Carolina to be with his family, but I think that's going to be kind of a big loss for us with Swift in particularly. Yeah, I mean, I love Swift. I love what he can do. But if we can now, with the need of a wide receiver and maybe even another quarterback, depending on what we get in the draft, linebacker, so on and so forth. I do think he could, depending on what his market is, he could be a viable trading piece for us.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, running back is such an unvaluable position.
It is. It is now.
Continue to knock it down, but we'll see where it goes. I'd like to see him turn it around.
Same. So you want to know what? I drafted him. I love him. I think he could be great. So let's just maybe let this year play out and see how he does with Montgomery and the new additions and weapons we have.
Yep, I agree.
All right. Penei Sewell. We obviously are going to need to be re-signing him. He's going to be the highest paid tackle in the NFL. He's going to be making more than Tunsil, who's the highest paid, and
25 mil.
Yeah, 25 mil. Leveraging him to stay, maybe drafting his brother, like I mentioned.
Nice little side piece that might get you a little bit of a discounted deal here, but Penei is an absolute lockup. I mean, we've got our Orlando Pace here.
Yes.
We've got our starter for 10 years. He's bringing the mean culture to the offensive line. The dude is a home run pick that we've gotten, and there's no way we can let him walk out of here.
Not only that, Penei, he can catch balls, baby. You see that first down last year?
Does a little bit of everything for us. The other thing that we need to talk about with this, too, is Goff's future with the team.
Yes.
I mean, when we're looking at it, this quarterback market has become out of control. And when you're talking Daniel Jones is getting upwards of $40 million, and you're talking Derek Carr is getting $37.5 million. Goff's numbers were better than both those guys last year. And when you're looking at it, it's like, is he going to command $40 million? Because when you're looking at the cap structure, it is it's tough sledding to fill out the rest of your roster if you're paying $40 million for one guy.
Yeah, and see, this is where you and I kind of have differencing of opinions. I think Goff is going to be commanding that $40 mil. I know your point is he's gotten paid, and we made the trade for him. We kind of resurrected his career.
First quarterback that's been paid before he's gone into the re-signing phase, which is interesting.
That is interesting, and I see your take on that. I just do not see a guy taking a discount when he had the last 8 games of the year last year. He was top 5 quarterback in every category. I don't even think he threw an interception.
Yeah, very good.
And then now we had Jameson, but now we have him with 6 games, but with all these weapons, another year underneath Ben Johnson, we all know their relationship, how well they vibe. I just do not see him taking a discount. I would like us to get a quarterback who can extend the field a bit more, making something out of nothing. I love Goff and what he brings to this team right now, but I don't know if I want to pay Goff $40 mil. Another interesting point that you made is his fiance and the money she makes.
Yeah, which I mean is outlying factors, but it's similar to the Tom Brady situation
in
that regard. In Goff, it's interesting because he's already making $30 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you get him on a re-sign where he'll do $30 million again. But is he worth $30 million? And those questions still need to be answered.
The quarterback market is just out of control right now. The Browns ruined what the other 31 owners have built up over the years. Payne Wilson, what they did.
Or Watson,
I'm sorry, Watson. I misspoke.
No,
I don't care to say his name right, weirdo.
Yeah.
But the value has just changed, and now they're forced to pay these franchise QBs guaranteed money. I mean, look at Lamar right now. Is he going to be in Baltimore? Is he not going to be in Baltimore? You just don't know. So it's the quarterback market is so crazy. It makes sense to draft a quarterback so you don't have to pay a guy, for the next 3 years, essentially.
Yeah, it's crazy when you look at the numbers. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is making somewhere close to 4 years, $37 million. on his rookie deal, and then you're talking about these quarterbacks making $40 million a year.
Yeah.
Where you're like, okay, that's a pretty good discrepancy between those numbers and what you can do with the rest of that cap space in order to fill out the rest of the roster. I think Goff was worth the $30 million. I think he probably still is.
Yeah.
But does it make sense for us to continue to go that way? I don't think the quarterbacks are out of line asking for their guaranteed money.
No, neither do I.
But I do think the market and the guaranteed money has become very, very high based off of the way the Browns did that deal.
And it makes it hard for you to build a team when you have to pay a quarterback that much money. I mean, a perfect example of being able to build the team with a young quarterback, Trevor Lawrence deal, 3 years, $36.8 million. That's just on 4 years, $24.1 million guarantee signing bonus. Gets the rest of the $14 million over the next 4 years. So he isn't eligible for a contract extension until you finish your 3rd year. We're talking about a fifth of what you have to pay the biggest name guys that are already in the league. You can put the other 80% you have to other valuable positions and build your team.
Yeah, no question. I think when you're looking at it, Trevor Lawrence is worth $40 million.
No question.
I don't think Daniel
Sunshine.
Jones.
Sunshine.
I don't think Daniel Jones is worth $40 million, but you look at
Fastest guy in the NFL, BK.
It plays a factor there, and it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. But I know like how the Browns have structured Watson's deal too, and where it's going to put them into the cap problems coming up because they just back the pay, back to pay, back to pay, back to pay. They're up to about $68 million, I believe, per year that they're going to be paying Watson over the next couple of years, which will be absolutely crippling on their cap space.
Their roster looks good right now, but it's not going to be able to be withheld with that contract.
No, it'll destroy their entire cap space.
Yes, it will. All right. Well, I mean, I think we have covered everything. Detroit Lions possibilities, re-signings, additions. This is our first episode. We will come up with a name moving forward.
And we'll be back to discuss the picks that we did have. And we'll talk about the good fits that we feel like we made in the draft and where our sleeper picks are and where our position groups are going forward here. But boy, are we excited because the Lions are finally in contention. And you can feel the buzz in this state right now.
You can. It's been a long time coming. Man, we are excited. I've never been so excited going into a year since we had Calvin Johnson. I'm just so thrilled that, people are finally starting to give us a little bit of respect. We have guys coming over that want to play with us. The culture's different. Man, I love me some Honolulu blue and silver. We are all Detroit all the time. Big Pistons fans, Wings fans, Tigers fans. We'll be covering it all. We aren't going to stop there. We also love golf, tennis. We are going to bring you everything. We just wanted to cover our Lions. The draft is coming up. We wanted to start here. But hopefully you guys liked what you listened to, our takes, our insight, and our expertise. And, we will be back.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's restore the roar.
Yeah, baby. Let's go. All right. Bye.